This is the story of a retired hitman living a comfortable life. But one day, an event forces him to revert to his old ways. The story begins with a young woman named Melody Ice skating in the middle of a snowy forest. After a while, her balance falters, and she collides with a tree, falling hard. A tree branch pierces her leg. Slowly, Melody's condition worsens. She lies on the ground, knowing that if she stays there, she might not survive. She pushes herself forward until she spots a house in the distance. She begins to make her way towards it. This house belongs to a man named Henry, who has lived there for a long time. He carefully observes his surroundings. Then he sees Melody. He notices her entire body and realizes she is injured. He takes her inside the house to treat her. Melody lies on the bed, seeing everything covered in dust. She watches Henry sharpening his knife, preparing to remove the branch from her leg. The story then shifts to a flashback a few months earlier. We see Henry shaving, and we learn that he is a hitman. He has eliminated 99 people so far. He has a new contract to eliminate a billionaire named Kessler. Henry prepares for his new target, keeping a close eye on Kessler. After a while, he discovers that Kessler is going to a sauna, and this is the opportune moment to strike. Henry enters the sauna and eliminates Kessler in a way that prevents any sound or suspicion of an assassination. Henry then quietly leaves and enters a locker room. As he opens a locker, he retrieves a briefcase containing his payment. Henry's mission is complete. He has the money, which means his work is done. He takes the money and returns. But the next day is Kessler's funeral. Many people attend, arriving in their expensive cars. We see two detectives named Kappa and Davis. They have been assigned Kessler's case. They remark that whoever eliminated Kessler is an extremely cunning criminal, leaving no evidence behind. The assassin used a polymer bullet, which disintegrates after entering the body, leaving no trace. Now, both detectives must find Kessler's killer, otherwise the government will put immense pressure on them. Kessler was not an insignificant figure. These two are now trying to figure out how to track down the assassin. First, they summon Kessler's most trusted associate, Brigler, and begin interrogating him about Kessler. They only found Kessler's watch in the sauna. Beyond that, they have no other evidence. They ask Brigler if Kessler had any enemies or competitors. Brigler states that Kessler was a very powerful man with many successful businesses, and he also had many competitors. So, it is difficult to say anything definitive. Anyone could be his adversary. Most people don't know that Kessler has a son named Charlie. Kessler had drafted his will in a very unusual way. If anything happened to Charlie before Kessler, all his property would be auctioned and distributed to others, which is exactly what Kessler's enemies desired. Kappa asks where Charlie is. Brigler replies, "I can't tell you. We had hidden him before, but as soon as Kessler passed away, I hid him further because I know that his next target is going to be the same. If anything happens to him, then all his property will be auctioned, and the whole world wants that." After saying this, Brigler leaves. Meanwhile, we see Melody packing her belongings. She is still in her apartment, but as soon as she looks out the window, we see Melody's bodyguard, Malcolm. He always keeps a close eye on her. After a while, Malcolm senses that something is amiss. He goes upstairs to Melody's apartment. Upon entering, he sees that Melody is missing. She has escaped. He becomes worried and starts informing everyone about her disappearance. On the other hand, we see Melody approaching a taxi driver and telling him where she wants to go. The taxi driver takes her to a snowy mountain, and Melody needs to rent a snowmobile from there. She approaches a man and tells him her destination. He replies that the place is very far, and she will face many difficulties. "I don't think you will be able to reach there, and you will have to refuel repeatedly." Melody understands that this man is trying to avoid helping her. She then offers him a large sum of money. Seeing the money, the man's resolve weakens, and he gives the snowmobile to Melody. She then starts driving forward. After driving for a long time, she stops the vehicle to refuel. Then a young man approaches and stops next to her, saying, "Wherever you are going, there's no place to stop for a long time, but I know a place nearby. If you want, we can stop there." But Melody doesn't respond and leaves. On the other hand, we see Henry inside his house, repairing his weapons. After a while, he comes out, and he hears Melody's cries. just as we saw at the beginning of the film. Now the story returns to the present. We see Henry with all his tools. He is carefully removing the embedded branch piece by piece. Melody is in great pain, but Henry reassures her that this is the only way, otherwise her problems will continue to worsen. Melody slowly begins to calm down. Meanwhile, we see Davis and Kappa. They want to find out about the polymer bullet. They are looking for a supplier so they can track down the hitman. Kappa suggests that this individual is very cunning. They must have been in the military or highly trained somewhere, which is why they are so dangerous. He then remembers that they should tap Brigler's phone. He tells his department that he needs all of Brigler's call history, hoping to find a clue there. Time passes. After a while, Davis comes and tells Kappa that he has been removed from this case and has a new assignment, working with senior agents. Kappa doesn't like this at all, but he knows this is good for Davis. Working with seniors could lead to a promotion. So, he congratulates Davis and says that he will handle this case alone. On the other hand, we see Henry bringing a deer inside the house. Melody sees this deer and assumes Henry has hunted it. Henry explains, "There are a lot of wolves outside, and this deer is injured. If I had left it outside, the wolves would have taken its life. That's why I brought it inside." He then begins to ask Melody questions. He tells Melody, "This place is very dangerous. No tourists come here. What were you doing in such a remote location?" Melody tells Henry, "I've been in my apartment for many years. I had to get out. That's why I chose such a place where no one could find me." Henry advises her, "You'll have to practice walking quickly, otherwise, your foot injury could worsen." After saying this, he goes outside and walks to the spot where Melody had her accident. He examines everything carefully, but after surveying the entire area, he can't understand how Melody fell there. This puzzles him. Then he sees a wolf in front of him. Melody's blood was spilled there, and the wolf was drawn by the scent. As soon as he sees the wolf, Henry draws his weapon. He intends to eliminate the wolf and save himself if it attacks. But after a while, the wolf moves away and doesn't bother Henry, so he doesn't harm it. Meanwhile, back at the house, Melody is thirsty, and Henry isn't there. She sees water and slowly begins to move towards it. But halfway there, her feet ache, and she falls to the ground. Just then, Henry arrives. As soon as he sees Melody, he says, "There's still a piece of wood in your leg. I was waiting for you to get a little better. Then I'll take it out. Until we remove it, your condition isn't going to improve." Melody agrees. Henry gives her water to help her calm down, and he gives her a piece of cotton, telling her to bite down on it because she's about to experience a lot of pain. Melody complies, and Henry begins the painful treatment. On the other hand, we see Kappa, who has all of Brigler's call records. He is examining them very carefully. He recognizes all the names except for Malcolm's. Kappa doesn't know anything about Malcolm and starts to suspect him. Why did Brigler speak to this man? He begins to investigate Malcolm's identity. Meanwhile, we see Malcolm. He goes to the same snowmobile rental house where Melody rented her vehicle. He shows a picture of Melody and asks the man there if this girl came here. The man remains silent. Malcolm understands that he will need to apply some pressure. When he gives the man some money, the man begins to speak, confirming that Melody did indeed come there and rented a snowmobile. Malcolm asks, "Don't you put trackers on these vehicles?" The man replies, "Yes, we put them on everyone. But a little while ago, I tried to track her, and now her tracker is off." Malcolm realizes that the only way to find her is by following her path. He also rents a snowmobile and asks where she went. He then heads in the same direction. On the other hand, we see Melody, who is recovering. She walks out and approaches Henry, beginning to ask him, "Why do you live alone in this wilderness? Far from the city? There's no sign of another person here." Henry explains, "I was troubled and people too. I didn't want to live in the city. This is true contentment for me." Melody continues to talk to him, hoping to strengthen their connection. Meanwhile, we see Kappa, who visits Kessler's ex-wife to learn more about Kessler. He hopes to find a clue that will lead him to the assassin. But when he starts talking to her, he realizes that this woman has dementia. She doesn't remember most things, and it has been a long time since she separated from Kessler. She cannot provide any useful information. People begin to help the woman, and Kappa approaches her. He gives her Kessler's watch and tells her to send it to Charlie. Kessler's last possession should rightfully go to his child. Hearing these words, the woman is surprised and asks, "Who told you that he is Kessler's son?" Kessler has a daughter whose name is Charlie. Hearing these words, Kappa is astonished because until now, he thought Charlie was a boy. But now he knows that Charlie is a girl. On the other hand, Malcolm is continuing his journey, but today's storm is very strong. Seeing the storm, he stops at a small cafe and begins to drink coffee. Once the storm subsides, he will continue his pursuit. Meanwhile, we see Melody, whose hand injury has not yet healed. Henry begins treating it again. Melody watches him for a moment and asks, "How did you learn all these things? You treat even the most severe wounds. This is no small feat. It requires a lot of training." Henry replies, "I've been alone all my life. I had no one to treat me, so I had to learn all these things to survive." Time slowly passes. After a while, we see Melody outside, holding a pistol. She has assembled the weapon herself. We learn here that Melody is trained in martial arts. She's a dangerous young woman. She moves slowly, pistol in hand, searching for Henry to eliminate him. After a while, Henry sees her while he's fishing. She fires at Henry's head without hesitation. But as she approaches to examine his face, she realizes that Henry had set a trap. This isn't Henry. Henry then grabs her and ties her up in his house. He places a heavy log on Melody to restrain her. After a while, Melody's condition begins to deteriorate. Henry tells her, "Tell me the whole truth. Who are you, and why do you want to eliminate me?" For a long time, Melody remains silent. But after a while, she reveals that she is Kessler's daughter, and her name is Charlie. She has come here to avenge her father's passing. Hearing this, Henry says, "You're lying. As far as I know, Kessler didn't have a daughter. He had a son." Melody replies, "That's what everyone thinks. This lie was spread everywhere to keep me safe." Henry asks, "How did you find out about me?" She says, "Brigler told me, and this whole plan, and then I came here to eliminate you." Henry says, "I don't want to eliminate you. I want to release you and quietly leave here. After today, you won't come after me, nor will I come after you." After saying this, he frees Melody. Melody goes outside and turns on the GPS of her snowmobile, but the storm is intensifying rapidly. Henry approaches her and tells her to come back inside, and Melody complies. Then Henry tells her the full story. "The person who gave me the contract told me to eliminate Kessler's son along with Kessler. Until now, I thought Charlie was a boy. I don't harm innocent people. The one who gave me the contract said that Kessler and his son are both major fraudsters, and eliminating them would be good for society. Such people have no right to exist. That's why I took that contract. According to me, you are fraudsters." Hearing these words, Melody also becomes worried and asks, "Who gave you the contract? Who told you all this?" Henry says, "Brigler. I still have Brigler's number. He used to call me repeatedly. I remember every single word." Melody becomes deeply concerned, realizing there's such a large conspiracy within her own family. On the other hand, we see Kappa. He has also started to suspect Brigler. He is constantly observing him and wants to find out what Brigler is going to do. He calls Brigler repeatedly, but Brigler doesn't answer. Now Kappa's suspicions are growing. He feels that Brigler is the mastermind who is orchestrating everything so that all of Kessler's properties are seized, and only one person will benefit from it, Brigler. Now Kappa also leaves from here. Meanwhile, we see Malcolm, who is still stuck in the cafe due to the storm. Then a message arrives on his phone with a link inside. As soon as he clicks on the link, his address is sent to Kappa. Kappa did this on purpose so he could track Malcolm. As soon as Kappa gets the location, he informs his colleagues that they should apprehend Malcolm because Malcolm can be very dangerous. Kappa believes that if he reaches Malcolm, he will discover the entire truth. Malcolm also understands that people will be following him. He immediately exits and leaves the car in the storm. He needs to reach Melody as soon as possible. On the other hand, Henry's house is almost deteriorating due to the storm. Melody and Henry are both inside the house, and a small light is on. Then a shot is fired and the light inside also goes out. We know that Malcolm has arrived, but Malcolm has not come to save Melody. He also wants to eliminate Henry along with Melody to end the entire story instantly. Henry understands these things, that the assailants have arrived and want to harm them. He starts preparing. He knows where Malcolm is in the forest. He slowly moves forward with a knife. He confronts Malcolm with a knife, and they both begin to fight. But in the end, Henry eliminates him. On the other hand, we see Kappa, who is now with Davis. They are both approaching. After a while, they see a snowmobile on the road. They stop, understanding that they are close. They begin waiting there. Then Henry comes to his house in the morning. When Melody sees him, she notices his knife with blood on it. Melody thinks that now Henry will also harm her. As soon as Henry comes close to her, she strikes him on the head with a stick. Henry falls to the ground and she starts running. Then Henry pulls out a weapon and fires a warning shot at Melody. But Melody doesn't stop. But Kappa and Davis also hear the sounds of these shots. They too start coming towards the house. On the other hand, when Melody comes into the middle of the forest, Henry appears in front of her. Melody falls to the ground. Henry fires. Then we learn that Henry was eliminating a wolf here, and that's why he was also stopping Melody so she wouldn't go out. Wolves are roaming around the area, but after hearing the sound of the second shot, Kappa arrives. Kappa sees that Henry has a weapon in his hand, and Melody has fallen in front of him. Kappa mistakenly believes that Henry is about to harm Melody. He then shoots Henry and Henry falls. Now there are police officers all around. Melody returns to Henry's house. She remembers everything. How Henry saved her life, and how she had wrongly tried to harm him. Melody feels remorse for Henry. Now the owner of all the property is Melody, as her father wished. All the property is safe with her. And with this, the film ends here.